Welcome to the Infinity Bros podcast, the only podcast that's perfectly balanced as all things should be. My name is Isaac Edlin. I am your host tonight, and I have one other Infinity Bro with me. I welcome back Robbie Sauter. How are you doing, Robbie?
I am thrilled to be back on a podcast. I forgot that we did a podcast. I wasn't sure if we were still doing a podcast. So I'm excited that I was filled in that the podcast is still a thing that we do. I'm excited that it's still going. Godspeed.
Yeah. The podcast does in fact still exist right now. And I mean, to be fair, Infinity Bro Zane has been a major headliner on the podcast. So that just shows you the state of the podcast right now. If Zane is the one that is starring on the Infinity Bros podcast, you know that we're in big trouble. So we're getting some big star power back on the podcast with Robbie. I'm excited to have you back finally.
I'm excited to be back. I don't know the last time I did a non-MTG podcast.
It's been a hot minute, dude.
At least 4 months. At least.
Wow. Has it really been 4 months?
Well, we haven't recorded a Magic Monthly since October. So I'm assuming it's been longer.
True. Holy crap.
For an actual podcast.
When you put it like that, it seems like a really long time ago.
Yeah.
And it's also the first episode of 2024. So that's exciting.
Yeah, claps to that.
Yeah. 2023, I don't know. Okay, overall 2023, what'd you think of that year? What would you rate it on a scale?
What would I rate 2023? There was a lot of good content and a big video game year that I didn't get a chance to play any of.
Same.
But if I was a human that had time to watch and play all those video games that looked really, really cool, like Starfield, Baldur's Gate, Spider-Man 2. I know you played Spider-Man 2. I didn't.
Spider-Man 2, fantastic.
Yeah.
Baldur's Gate 3, I still am coming back to. Like, I want to play that one really bad. But
if I buy Baldur's Gate 3, I will spend all my time in it.
Same.
So yeah, I think it was a pretty good year. Movies were okay. I can't think of what was the big. I mean, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, or Across the Spider-Verse. Sorry.
I feel like Guardians of the Galaxy 3 was probably the best MCU entry we got this
live
year.
Action movie, probably like nerd movie.
Yeah.
All the DC movies sucked. So
we had a lot of really subpar.
Blue Beetle is pretty good, but I waited.
Blue Beetle was good. I waited
for HBO Max.
I like that one.
It's a good movie, but I waited for HBO Max.
Same, honest. I did too. Yeah,
and I don't know if I'll ever watch Aquaman 2. Yeah,
it'll eventually drop on.
I'll watch it because it's the last movie of the really, really disappointing.
And I enjoyed the first Aquaman, so I think I'll like it. You know, as a just fun, enjoyable movie, I think it'll be fine.
So I will give 2023 a 4.6 out of 6.
Okay,
because it was a pretty good year.
Yeah, I'll go along
the video
with you.
games are carrying.
Yeah. Video games are big. I'm on the same page as you. I wish I would have gotten a chance to dig more into video gaming this year, but having a kid kind of throws a wrench into that. So, but Spider-Man 2, that was the one that I was like, I don't care. I'm gonna just ditch my kids and just play Spider-Man. So I did that.
Justify buying Spider-Man 2 until I beat Spider-Man 1 and Miles Morales.
Have you never beat those?
No.
Gasp.
I own both, and I've gone at least 60% all the way in both and never beat them.
Oh, they're both so good. The first Spider-Man though, oh man, chef's kiss.
You know what the problem is? Good. You want to know what the problem is?
What?
Is that in Spider-Man 1 or maybe it's Miles Morales, I'm forgetting. Wherever I am in the story, I'm in a building. That's where my save point is. And I have to sneak around and beat these bad guys. And every time I've loaded in, I don't remember the controls, and I just get destroyed. And then I just put it down.
then just forget about it for another couple weeks.
That's legit it. Not even weeks, months. Months go by before I even think about it again.
I've heard it said on Twitter that there needs to be a dad mode where it reminds you of does a quick tutorial of all the buttons again when you load back into a game that you haven't played for months.
Well, yeah, I was talking to a student about that too, and he was like, "Why don't you just look at the moves list on the tutorial?" I'm not that guy. like I'm gonna button mash and then fail rather than look at a tutorial.
Same.
Not so
yeah,
stupid.
exactly. So dumb. Yes, but we are so excited to be bringing you another episode, the first episode of 2024. For those of you guys who are interested, we also have a Patreon that Robbie and I talked some Nicolas Cage on.
A lot of Nicolas Cage.
A lot of Nicolas Cage.
Patreon is what it
Yep, the Nicolas Cage Patreon, soon to be the Nicolas Cage Bros podcast.
Yeah.
I mean, the Nicolas Cage. What should we call it? We need some kind of fusion of Magic the Gathering.
The
and
MTG Cage Bros.
All right, that's what we'll roll with until we come up with a better name. Let me know if you guys could come up with a better name than that, because that did not flow off the tongue.
No.
So, but yeah, lots of Nicolas Cage talk. I talk about the 28 Nicolas Cage movies that I watched in 2023 on the Patreon. So if you're interested, go check that out and support us for as little as $2 a month.
It's not a lot of money.
It's not a lot of money. Yeah. And you can ask our good friend Scott Higa. I feel like you get some good bang for your buck on the Infinity Bros Patreon. Like,
that's the thing. If you're a Patreon, your name gets dropped.
Oh yeah.
All the pretty time. Consistently.
Yeah, definitely. Go and talk to some of those guys, some of those Infinity Bros Patreons. You can join our Discord, a bunch of them in there. Like I said, Scott Higa, all those guys, they'll tell you where it's at. They'll tell you the Infinity Bros Patreons. It's a fun time. So, but Robbie, we got a few things to talk about today. We've got some nerd news that is going to be, I've got a little game to play that I didn't prepare for.
A nerd news game.
Ooh. I should come up with a name for this game, because I did it with Mark the other day or the other episode, and it was a lot of fun. So
I think
some nerd news, and also we're going to be reviewing What If, which
season 2
finished up. Season 2, yep, just finished up like a week ago. Yeah, about a week ago.
Yeah.
Good stuff. But yeah, lots of cool things to talk about with What If. So yeah, there we go. I do want you new listeners to know that we have a special rating system in the Infinity Bros podcast.
Here on the Infinity Bros podcast, everything is ranked from a 0 to 6 point scale. 0 meaning horrible, and 6 meaning absolutely excellent. If all of the Infinity Bros rank something a 6, it gets an Infinity Step.
So, we mentioned that before. Robbie, you gave 2023 a 4.6.
Yes,
4 out of 6. I think I'd agree with that. I'd say 2023 is like a 4.5 in there somewhere. It was solid, had some good content. I feel like TV wise too was not quite as strong this year. We had some good highlights, but I don't know, nothing like, I feel like last year we had banger after banger.
The Last
of Us. Oh yeah, I definitely have a few really good ones.
The more that we talk about it, the more that 2023 was so front loaded.
Yeah,
that's the last 6 months of 2023. I'm sure if we looked it up, I'm sure there's something we're forgetting about, but 2023 was so front loaded with so many good things that I forgot that they happened in 2023.
Right? Yeah, that's true. I was actually just thinking about that. I read something about The Mandalorian today, and I was like, season 3. I didn't remember that came out in 2023. Yeah. I was like, holy crap,
that's why Pedro Pascal was so running the world.
Right. Yeah.
He had The Mandalorian and The Last of Us playing at the same time.
Yeah, the Pedro Pascal craze was going on. That was like peak when Last of Us was coming out, because Mandalorian just ended, I think.
And then House of the Dragon was out as well.
Oh my gosh. What? Yeah. That was 2023?
I believe that was 2023.
No, that had to be 2023.
Are we sure?
I don't remember, honestly. So if it were 2023, I might have to rethink some. I have a current list.
It was. Okay, it was.
It was 2022?
Okay, it was late 2022.
Because I have a list. I have like a running list of all my top 6s right now.
Okay.
And that was definitely not on it. And I would have had to have adjusted some things if that were the case. So, dodged a bullet there. All right, good. But yeah, I feel like I think this is a little tease for our Stan Lees, which we'll probably have to do later this month because I'm going on a trip, so it'll be a hot minute.
Do you think we'll get all 6 bros for the Stan Lees, or is that going to be
we better? That's if we're not all 6 of us there, I don't even want to do it.
I'm with you. We'll
get all 6. Don't worry.
We'll have to talk.
We'll have a live episode.
If we don't get all 6, do we have Do we have a battle for who gets the guest spot?
Fight to the death,
Fight to
and
the death.
whoever survives gets to be on the Infinity Bros podcast.
I'm all for that.
Okay.
All fight to the death.
It's decided.
We're announcing it now. If we can't get all 6 Infinity Bros, there will be a fight to the death to be on the Stan Lee's, which is our end of the year like recap, which we should be doing like now, but we're not.
Usually it's around now, but yeah. we've got some things to work out, some details to work out.
We're 30-year-olds with children, most of us.
Yeah. So
80%
that will be
of us have kids.
Soon-ish.
That was bad math. I'm not doing it.
No, that's right, isn't it?
Is that right? No, that's only.
No, I have to think. I can't think.
It's 100 divided by 6. I'm giving up.
Anyways.
Move on.
Moving on. Yeah, so, got a lot of things to look forward to. Also, to look forward to, we have some nerd news.
Nerd news.
Hey, Zane, I was looking into getting into this Gunpla thing. There's one called the Unicorn Banshee. What the heck is that all about? Actually, Jarrett, what you're thinking of is RX-0 Unicorn Gundam 2 Banshee, which is from the Mobile Suit Gundam. Actually, you know what? It's time for nerd news.
So our nerd news segment is obviously a segment that we get to react to the latest news. And we do have some recent news, two bits of info that came out today.
2 little bits.
And one that I just found kind of interesting. So we'll start with the interesting one. The Switch 2 is predicted to arrive in 2024 with a $400 price point. IGN came out with an article on this, and it seems like from everything that we know about it, it will be more of a integration of the current Nintendo Switch than a whole new console.
So not an actual Switch 2.
Yeah. So not sure why you even brand a Switch 2, because the Switch is still like one of the best selling consoles of all time.
So it's like the Switch OLED Plus.
Right. Yeah, we already have a Switch 2 with the OLED, right?
Yeah, so it's the OLED Plus Mega Edition.
Yeah, basically.
All right.
But I mean, Nintendo keeps things so close to the chest that we probably just know so little about this that that's what people are.
I'm sure they're upset that this news is even out already.
Could be.
Because Nintendo usually is like, we'll give you the news 6 months before we're ready, and then you just be ready for it.
Mm-hmm.
Like they want this thing out by Christmas is what it probably boils down to.
Right. So in this IGN article that I have up, Dr. Serkan Toto, a content games analyst noted for being a Nintendo expert, says the next system is also likely to be an iteration rather than a revolution. Which, I mean, Nintendo's pretty much known for their revolutionary
they like to try
consoles.
New things. Yeah.
Right. So, yeah, it seems a little, I don't know, non-Nintendo-ish to come out with something if they are branding it as the Switch 2 or, something new like that. Like, at this point, why?
Here's what I would want. Okay? This is just Switch 2. The Switch OLED Plus needs to be a Switch Wii. Okay. So you know how
Elaborate.
when they made the Wii controllers, they all had like the camera. You could set it up to your TV and everything.
Yeah.
Just do that with the Joy-Con somehow. Make both Joy-Cons have little cameras in them or whatever the signal thing is on like a remote, and then just do bring the Wii back, man. Like the Wii freaking works,
dude. The Wii wailed. I love the Wii. Yeah.
And then
that would be interesting.
And then you could probably, I would assume, make a VR headset off of that.
True. Yeah, just integrate some of that Wii like VR technology into the Switch.
Just keep adding more names. The Switch Wii VR.
So that's what I was just going to say. If that was what Nintendo did, what would you call it?
The Switch Wii VR.
The Switch Wii VR.
Yeah, the Switch Wii VR. If you say it fast, it flows.
It kind of does. VR. Yeah, it doesn't sound that bad. All right.
The Switchy The Switch EVR.
What would you change on the Switch WeVR?
What would I change?
Yeah,
I don't
from
really
the
know.
current Switch.
I don't like the current Switch. What I don't so we've talked about this at length in chat. Is that man hands are uncomfortable on the Switch 100%. Like you have to get like different like insole things
Right.
or play on like
You
an
got to
actual
get like a
controller.
third party like Joy-Cons basically that like can fit the Switch to like make it comfortable for handheld.
So I got this, the GameSir G8 Galileo plug. This thing is not a Switch thing, but like how this is set up for like my hands is like perfect because it feels like I'm holding an Xbox controller.
Yeah, way more ergonomic than like the hard like rigid and tiny
hands, and then you're like your hands cramp when you're holding a Switch.
Yeah,
like this. I played Red Dead Redemption 2 with the PlayStation remote app, like plugged in my phone into this and played for like 2.5 hours, and it was like the best experience I've ever had with like a handheld. So if you're interested and we cut this up and make it a video, the G8 Galileo GameSir controller for your mobile devices. This is not a Switch replacement. It doesn't do Switch things unless you do emulators, which you can download to your phone. But that's for you to do, and I'm not telling you what to do with that. But yeah, here's our plug for that.
We're not advocating that, but it is a thing that you can do.
Right, and also for people that are listening on the podcast, you'll have to watch the video or just look up the GameSir G8 Galileo. It's a much more comfortable option than the Switch controllers, at least.
Yeah, very.
The Joy-Cons are awful.
And honestly, the Joy-Cons are not great. So making them a little bit more ergonomic somehow would probably be beneficial for.
Well, it's the same as like the if anyone has used the PlayStation Backbone, like those are the exact same as Joy-Cons, and that's also awful. And that thing's like $100. Like,
is it really? I've like seen videos of it, but I've never actually held one before. So
well, there's multiple things. So there's the Backbone, which is just like you plug your phone into it, and then it's like a PlayStation remote app. Or there's the Portal, which the PlayStation Portal costs as much as a PS5. So I don't know who's buying that thing anyway.
People that are looking to burn through money, I guess.
I don't know.
So yeah, that was my first little piece of nerd news. Switch 2. Interesting.
The Switch WeVR.
Switch WeVR. Yep. That will be what we're referring to as from here on out. So next thing up on nerd news, we've got a Kang recast rumor. We talked last week about who we wanted as Kang. Jonathan Majors obviously out after getting axed within hours of
found guilty
of assault and harassment, I think, are the charges. But yeah, he's out. Kang recast rumor. I mean, we've had rumors swirling for months. No, I shouldn't say months. It has been months, even before Kang or before Jonathan Majors was completely out. People were still saying like, "Oh, who could potentially replace him if they chose to do a recast?" Blah blah blah. But Coleman Domingo. This is a Screen Rant article, so all of this is still rumor. Nothing's confirmed by any.
All very speculative.
But Coleman Domingo has been making the rounds. He made his name as Victor Strand in Fear the Walking Dead. And I've never watched anything that he's in, but he looks the part. Like you look at him and you're like, okay, I could see that. So that's been a big rumor that's floating around, going around the major news rumor sites this week. Robbie, in light of that, and with our last episode of our, who would you want as Kang? Who would you want as Kang?
I actually made a video about this, but Giancarlo Esposito. I hope I'm saying his name right. That would be that's my Kang replacement.
Mark's comment on him last week's episode was that he's too old for Kang.
I get that, but how long do you need Kang? Right? You need him till it's 2024. You need him till what? 2027?
You need
2027
max.
You need 3 or 4 years out of him.
Mm-hmm.
The other one I would be I would need to do more personal research, I guess, or need to see something that would tell me he could do it. Would be John Boyega.
Yeah. I mean, he's a good actor, so I could
He's a good
definitely
actor.
see him doing it. Mark's
I've-
comment was he wanted to see him as a hero instead of a villain,
Okay.
but I think he would do
See,
solid,
mine was
yeah.
the opposite of that because I have never seen him in a villain role.
Right, yeah.
And that's
Same.
like they're actors, so you expect that they can do it, but I've never seen him do it. So that would be my like I want to see him in a villain role. Maybe he has a villain role I haven't seen.
Mhm.
That would be my interesting.
The other name that
Interesting
came
one.
up in our conversation last week was Eldon Hodge, who is the actor for Hawkman in Black Adam.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was
Yeah,
really
I don't-
good in Black Adam.
He
So
was.
I don't know anything else that he's done, so I can't like speak to his filmography or anything like that. But yeah, he was great in Hawkman. So maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
But it'll be interesting to see how they handle this in the coming weeks, because I mean, as we've talked about pretty much at length at this point, they're probably going to have to recast him to at least ease into a bigger bad down the line. Even if they chose to do the pivot to another villain, they still probably have to recast Kang and, kind of ease into that transition instead of just cutting the character off from the MCU and going.
Yeah, because it's not
straight.
like he's too big of a character where like gosh, I'm totally blanking on his name, but the guy that replaced Rhodey, the first
Don
Rhodey in
Cheadle?
Iron Man 2.
Yeah.
Don Cheadle. So he
you mean
replaced
Terrence Howard?
Terrence Howard.
Yeah.
So Terrence Howard was replaced, but like that was Iron Man 1. Like
Right.
no one cared.
Yeah.
Like we moved on and it wasn't that big of a deal. Like you decided that Jonathan Majors was going to be your big bag for the next 5 years. And now he is out. And I know the whole like Marvel is falling thing. Like they're still making plenty of money. Marvel isn't falling, but they're just not hitting what they expect right now, probably.
Right. Yeah.
And they only have 2 or 3 movies coming out this year.
Mhm.
Right? It's like the
one
smallest number
movie and 3 Sony movies.
Right. So it's the least amount of movies they've had in a long time. So
Right.
I mean, this would be the time you have to recast them. And I think you just keep going with Kang.
Mhm.
I know a lot of people said go like pivot to Doom. Like I would say let's see this thing to fruition.
Yeah. And I think you still could pivot to Doom, like even in the Avengers movies, like have Kang be the big bad guy all the way up until the first Avengers movie. Then like he kills Kang and like it becomes the bad guy now. Like, something like that. So I think it's possible, can be done still. Big blow to Marvel, obviously, though, that
Huge.
I mean, he's the guy. He's been the guy that they've staked the whole next phase on. And he's gone now.
And it was different than like if he was a big CGI monster, kind of like Thanos was. Like we love Josh Brolin, right? Played Thanos,
right.
But like you could have replaced a CGI face.
Yeah,
it wouldn't have been a big issue. Like everyone would be like, oh, okay, whatever. Like, but you're replacing a human being.
Yeah,
and
different.
And to completely disconnect the actor from the person, Jonathan Majors as an actor is incredible. Like Jonathan Majors as an actor was incredible. As a person, piece of crap. As an actor, incredible. It's hard to just replace that. So
right, exactly.
That's the
challenge. And there's been, I don't know. It's so interesting because like the more I hear discourse online, which online, you can take it or leave it. It's there's a lot of talk that goes on online, but it's incredible how many people that I've heard don't think Jonathan Majors was a great asset for the MCU. Like everything that I saw him in, I was like, this guy is a force. In Quantumania, he was the only thing that kept that movie together. Like that movie was not good, but he was intimidating in that movie. I don't see how people don't see him as a big bad. Honestly, he was great. And it's again sad that he is gone as the character. He's getting what he deserves as a person. So So anyways, interesting Kang discourse. last thing I've got on nerd news is big news today.
Big news.
Steven Yeun exits Thunderbolts.
Oh yeah.
He drops out of Marvel's Thunderbolts, which is slated to start filming this year, release in 2025. He cites, so we actually had a Hollywood Reporter article that came out, like, I think that one was yesterday, that said he was dropping out, gave zero sources and zero reasons why he was dropping out. And so I read that article and I was like, is that like legit? But it's Hollywood Reporter, so like they're usually pretty on top of things and they don't report rumors. So this is a Variety article that I'm reading now. He is sorry he dropped out of Marvel's Thunderbolts, cites the strike and scheduling issues. So he basically says that he kind of got wrapped up with Invincible. Beef is the big show that he was in that came out earlier this year. With all of that, plus the strike, he basically says like, yeah, it just didn't work out, which maybe he's got future stuff going on. Maybe they're doing another season of Beef at some point, but I thought that was interesting because they haven't even started filming yet. So I'm like where's the scheduling issue? He must have other stuff going on as well.
Well, it also makes you wonder how big is the role of Sentry actually, if he would, if you would say no to Marvel and a Marvel like character for a TV show, that's a little strange. Like, so if it, like, is Sentry just going to be a one-off, like, or is it like he doesn't want to commit to future movies as Sentry?
Yeah. So this is what he said in an interview today. He says, I think for me, time passing and things shifting kind of pulled me out of it. But Jake Schreier, who's the director of Thunderbolts, I know is going to do an incredible job. I still want to do a Marvel movie. So he I don't know, maybe that's just a passing comment. Like, obviously it's Marvel. So like, you don't just like shut down Marvel. Usually I feel like people hear them out, like, even if they're not the kind of person to
the
do
Marvel
a Marvel
snobs out there. Yeah.
Right. Like, I think you hear out Marvel if they contact you about something. So like, yeah, I'm sure he would be back if they offered him another role in something else. But even so, it's just, it's interesting. I'm not sure exactly how all that is going to work out. Production on Thunderbolts paused because of the strike. Still haven't even began filming at this point. So, but big thing I've got for you here, Robbie. Steven Yeun exiting Thunderbolts. That leaves possibly a casting gap in Thunderbolts, as it were, right now. So I've got a list of people. Would you like them as Sentry in the MCU? Just a short yes, no.
We'll see if I even know the names.
So for those of you who guys are not familiar with Sentry in the Marvel Universe, he is a very powerful being, powers akin to Superman, like, very kind of got that overall power type of vibe, but he's got a very dark side as well. Kind of like a demonic force, I guess you want to call it, called the Void, like takes him over.
I already have
very interesting storyline. So, anyways,
quick Google search. I have my number one pick.
Well, we'll see if he's on my list. So here you go.
Okay.
Would you like to see them as Sentry? Daniel Day Kim. Daniel Day Kim, I put on here because if they still want to keep the, person of color, like Asian actor, Daniel Day Kim is one of the bigger names out there right now. And he is slightly older, but he's like the guy. Like, he's very well known actor.
Daniel Day Kim is he Ip Man? Am I saying that right? Ip Man? Or did he not do the Ip Man movies? I'm trying to think who did the Ip Man movies.
Don't remember.
All right, now I need you have to cut this.
Look him up.
If I'm thinking of the right guy. Oh, okay. No. He did okay.
He's I think he's in Lost. He's in Hawaii 5-0. Hawaii 5-0
stuff. No, I would say no. It just looking at his movies and everything, it doesn't look like he's done anything too big. He's also seems very much like a show guy.
Yeah, he's done a lot of TV.
A lot of TV. I would say Noah Sentry.
He does have a very nice chin.
He has a very strong chin line.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
that is true.
Which for that role might be good.
For
but
sure.
I threw him on there, kind of if they're wanting to continue that route.
Yeah.
Eamon Esfandi, who played Ezra Bridger in Ahsoka.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I don't have anything against that, I suppose.
Okay.
I don't know what more you want with me.
Some of these are just names I randomly pulled just to see your reaction. So,
okay.
Henry Cavill.
Yes.
Was that the one that you were thinking of?
That was I have a 1A and I have a 1B. He would be my 1B.
Right.
Or he'd be my 1A because the ultimate slap in the face would be to leave DC and then go to Marvel and be their Superman clone.
Yeah.
Like
basically.
It would be incredible.
That would be.
Would
I feel like, and we talked
know.
about this on the last episode of the Infinity War podcast as well. Henry Cavill is such a good actor that he would nail the villain role as well. So, like, just imagine him being the good guy as Sentry and then turning around into the Void. Which
how Zack Snyder had him acting as Superman was Sentry basically. Right? So
yeah,
he'd be perfect at it.
Interesting. Yeah. So next up, Jeremy Allen White, who is the lead in The Bear.
He
just I put him on this list because he just came out with the Calvin Klein underwear commercial the last week, and he's jacked. I was
have you seen The Bear?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, The Bear is fantastic.
Yeah, he's an incredible actor.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, he's very good. And he's also in Iron Claw, and I'm assuming that's why he got jacked was for Iron Claw, because that's the movie about the wrestling brothers.
Yep.
The Calvin Klein commercial, I was like, holy crap, I didn't know this guy was just
there's probably a chance where
jacked out of his mind.
Very high on Marvel's radar, I would imagine.
Yeah, and he's hot right now. Like everybody's wanting a piece of the Jeremy Allen white pie. So
right.
So was that a yes or no? I don't know if I did.
That was an absolute. That was 100,000% yes.
Okay. All right. Great.
Yeah.
Alan Ritchson, who is Reacher in the Amazon Prime show right now, and he actually just said that he would be open to playing Batman if James Gunn asked him for the DCU.
That dude went from BMS, freaking Blue Mountain State.
Yep.
To then
Blue Mountain State.
Like he did a few
Smallville.
Okay movies.
He's Aquaman in Smallville.
Yeah, and then he did then this Reacher stuff, and he just keeps getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
Dude is,
and he's also massive. That's
what I was gonna say. That dude has to be like one of the top picks for Marvel and DC to get in a role. And he's also young enough. He's still he is probably like 30, like late 30s at this point. But with that jawline and how big he is, the dude's The Rock, but can act. That dude is incredible. If you look at a picture of Sentry, if you Google Sentry on Google, there's not a more perfect body type, right?
Yeah.
You put a wig, you put some long hair on him, and it's like you have your freaking Sentry.
Yeah.
So that's just by that, and with how, because he can be like the funny, like nice guy, and then be like the super dark, I'm gonna break your freaking femur with my pinky guy. So yeah, I'm all in on him.
Okay. All right. Last one I got on my list. You ready for this?
Yes.
Danny DeVito.
He'd pull off the suit for sure.
Yeah, obviously.
I'm not saying no. I'm not saying yes. Maybe like Sentry in a Deadpool movie.
Yes.
Deadpool
Actually,
Sentry.
that was something that Mark said, because the one I threw him Danny DeVito for last week was Dr. Doom.
Oh, Dr. Doom.
And he was like, no. And I was like, okay, well, what about a Deadpool 3 variant?
Yeah.
And he was like, yes.
Yes.
a Deadpool 3 variant of anybody.
Yeah.
Oh, no. What he said was Deadpool 3, he wants Danny DeVito as a Wolverine variant.
Oh yeah, we've seen him
Which
in a Wolverine
would
outfit.
be perfect. Yeah,
exactly. The one you missed, the big one.
Okay.
Anthony Starr, Homelander.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah.
That would be my one.
How did I miss that one? Because that's like right there.
He's my 1B. Like, okay, actually, Alan Rickman might be my 1A now, but
yeah.
Henry Cavill 1A, Alan Rickman's 1B, Anthony Starr would be 1C.
That's really interesting because, like, man,
he's got a good thing going with Homelander, though.
Yeah, he does.
They probably would not let him do Sentry if he's Homelander.
Probably not. And I like, it's interesting if you watch his interviews and stuff like that. I mean, he seems like a dude who is not super high on superhero stuff, which I mean, he's in a superhero satire, so it totally fits, you know.
He has a very untrustworthy face, and I don't trust him.
He does,
even as a human. He might be a great human. This is no slight at him, but his face makes me feel untrustworthy.
Do you think it would be that way even if you didn't see him or know him as Homelander? Do you think you would see him and just immediately hate him?
I don't know if I
because like
hate him.
that's the role that has made him the ultimate villain. Like,
he's got like this. What works so well for him is his eyes. They're so intense and they can be so like wild, and that's where I don't trust him. I don't trust his eyes.
True.
His untrustworthy eyes.
All right, there you go. You heard it here first. Anthony Starr as Sentry.
Yes, but also untrustworthy.
So there you go. That was the my little game for Steven Yeun casting for Nerd News. So
nice.
Great job, Robbie. Way to go.
Hooray.
All right, guys, we are going to dive into What If. But before we do, and before we give a spoiler warning, I do want to talk to you, Robbie, about your thoughts on season 1 and your non-spoiler review of season 2. So what were your thoughts coming into season 2 with what you thought of season 1?
I loved season 1. I believe when we did our Stanleys, it was one of my top 5 for that year, because I love the idea of taking what we know and then changing it. And then when you do that with animation, you can do whatever you want, which is beautiful. And just like with season 1 and with season 2, there's episodes that I'm just like meh on, but they're short. Like, and you don't have to fall in love with all the episodes, and only a handful of the episodes matter to like the end plot that they kind of set up in the last few episodes. So I love season 1. Season 2, is it better? I would say season 2 has more episodes that I enjoy than season 1. I don't know. I'd have to rewatch season 1 to decide if it was better. But I will put season 2 at a 5.5. And it's really only deducted half a point because of there's just some episodes I'm just like, I didn't need that. It could have been better, but like, again, I'm not mad. I spent 30 minutes. It's whatever. But I think the end fight in this one I enjoyed more than the first one. And then there's a few episodes that by themselves I enjoyed more than like season 1.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think I'm pretty much on the same wavelength as you. I think it's honestly really hard to separate season 1 and 2 because the premise is so similar.
Yeah.
But yeah, good episodes in both season 1 and season 2, and then episodes that just, didn't grab me, but they're still enjoyable. They're still fun. And the animation is good. I feel like season 1, it took me a little bit to get used to it, just because it's kind of that weird blend of like 2D and 3D.
I think they did animation. A much better job in season 2 of that.
Yeah. So it's definitely more smooth than season 1. But yeah, I think overall, really solid. I would give season 2 a 5 out of 6. I think I probably would give season 1 a 5. I think I'm on the same page with you too, that I need probably go back and rewatch those season 1 episodes to get a better picture of like which season I liked better. But as it sits right now, in my mind, I think it's pretty much the same. Like I love them both, and they were both really fun and enjoyable seasons to watch. So, all right, we're going to get into spoilers here. So here is your official spoiler warning.
This is
Prepare yourself.
an Infinity Bros
Prepare yourself.
spoiler warning.
Okay, so specifically, Robbie, which episodes really hit for you this season?
Ooh, really hit. I'm looking at the episode list right now. The Hela found the 10 rings
Ooh, yeah,
was
that
one
was
of
my
the most
favorites.
like enjoyable like fighting episodes of anything that I've watched in a long time. Like the fighting in that was so freaking good.
Yeah.
And then the Avengers assembled in 1602 is just right up my alley.
Yes.
Like that's
love
that I'm all in on that kind of stuff. So those two are probably my favorite episodes out of everything. They were just
Yeah.
perfect. What I like is what those words like. The story is good, but the action they put so much care and thought into the action that really carried it for me.
Yeah, I love those two as well. And then I would add to one that I loved was the second one, What If Peter Quill Attacked Earth's Mightiest Heroes? Because that had the Avengers in 1988.
Yeah.
Which I thought that was just a sweet concept. Like I wanted more of that. Like, what if with just wildly different scenarios and stuff like that? That was a really cool one. I really, really like that one. And so for the 10 Rings one with Hela, that one was so good. Hela, yeah. I think what was really great about that one specifically was that they got Cate Blanchett back to voice Hela, which I was shocked by. I was like, I can't believe they got her back to do that. We learned in season 1 too, not all of those actors really did a fantastic job of voice acting, but I thought she did incredible. And it's interesting because like I feel like in Ragnarok we don't see we just see like the crazy, wanting to take over the world side in Ragnarok. In this one, you start to come around and see, a little bit more of her personality. And that I thought that was just so cool. So that was definitely one of my
you and me are going to
episodes.
disagree here. I despised her voice.
Really? I thought it was great.
I think it
I
was
loved it
because her as an actor, and as like a all around funny person, works because of her mannerisms, and that's where her voice is okay. Without seeing her actual face, I hated her voice.
So that was a thing that like you knew it was Cate Blanchett and like just not seeing it and it was associating
just, like,
her with it or whatever.
The same facial reactions as a human, and
like,
I her voice is it's just scratchy at times, and yeah, it wasn't it for me. Like I loved that episode, and how that episode turned. The last like 10 minutes was incredible. But I just her voice doesn't do it for me.
No, agree to disagree. I think that was me last season with, I'm trying to remember now, but there were like 2 or 3 voice actors last season. I think it was Mark Ruffalo for Bruce Banner for one of them. I was just like, it's just not it. And I think
you recorded that on your phone and sent it in.
It just didn't like fit, and I think there was another one, but off the top of my head I can't remember. But yeah, it's just like, some people just aren't cut out to be voice actors, so it is what it is. But I mean, there were some were there any ones that you were just not crazy about, like episodes that you were just like, we didn't really need this?
2 for sure. Happy Hogan Saved Christmas. I'm sure
like that one.
I know people love Happy, and it was like right at Christmas time when that came out. I didn't care for it at all. It just didn't do anything for me.
I thought that one was just a fun like Christmas, like like you get the holiday special TV episodes, and like they're dumb and they don't usually play into the like scope of the season very well, but they're just like fun. just
I'm not a
fun to
holiday
watch.
special guy. I'm not a holiday special guy.
Just a Grinch over
Just a
here.
Grinch. Yeah. And then Iron Man crashed into the Grandmaster. I know you love your guy.
Mm-hmm.
And was he the voice actor in this?
He was. Yeah,
Jeff
he
Goldblum?
was
Okay.
actually the voice actor in
So
this.
I love the Grandmaster too. But the episode itself was just like without the Grandmaster, without Korg, that episode is terrible to me, and I hate it.
Agreed. Agreed.
Like,
I think it was interesting why they did this one. Like, I feel like they needed to explain Gamora from the last season, so they just like did this episode.
Yeah, right.
But I was like, you didn't even need to, like, we don't really care about last season anymore. Like, this is
Right.
a whole new season. Like, you could have just, I mean, I thought that episode was fine. Like, it was not one of my favorites, but like it was still fun. And yeah, like my guy Jeff Goldblum nailed it.
Jeff's hilarious.
He's so funny.
I loved at the end of that episode when he like dies, when he's just watching the little shock thing roll towards his foot, and he doesn't even move, and he just goes,
"Could you get a bucket, maybe?"
That is 100% Jeff Goldblum. He wouldn't bother to move himself,
he wouldn't,
knowing that death is coming. He's just like, "Don't do that."
And he wasn't even like surprised or anything. He's just like, "Oh,
just melted."
I'm melting. That was great. Mine was the Hydra Stomper one. Like, okay, I do love Haley Atwell as like, you know, Captain Carter in all of these, but I feel like they're really pushing Captain Carter, especially with the last two episodes. Like,
right.
We could have done without this episode, and it was cool. Like, you know, it was still fun to see her and Nat, their relationship, and, you know, Steve as the bad Hydra Stomper. That was kind of interesting, but overall I was just like, I don't need another Captain Carter episode. I feel like we have enough of her.
Yeah.
So to me, it was like
to the end of the season, you do kind of go like, why did we need that entire episode for her?
Yeah, exactly.
Why wasn't that a Black Widow
episode? In the last episode, however, and the last two episodes, honestly, because the 1602 one is like just the lead up to the finale. But I thoroughly enjoyed her in both of those, save for maybe the Infinity Stone armor. I was just like, we did this last season. Like,
right.
Why do we need to rehash that?
Yeah.
But besides that, I loved her and Kahori. We haven't even talked about that episode yet either, but I thought that was a fantastic pairing. That was really cool and fun. And it was so funny how she just was like wholly trusting of Strange Supreme. Like, the dude is literally like a giant demon,
right?
Even in the previous season, like, he's obviously like
this
got
is not a good
dark,
guy,
crazy stuff going on,
right?
And she's just like, yeah, I trust him with my whole universe in his hands.
Yeah.
So she goes all in on him, and it's like, wow,
well,
guess what? He's a bad guy. He always kind of was.
And he's like, I need you to go find this girl, like, and she never even once went like, why
didn't question him? Nothing. Yeah. But the Kahori and the Mohawk episode, that was kind of cool. I like that one.
Kahori, I really like the Kahori episode. Actually like, she became probably one of my favorite characters from the What If series.
It was a really cool, like, I feel like, and you know, What If is an opportunity to explore kind of like different versions of realities. This was a cool way to like get an origin story for a character in a short, you know, period of time. I thought that one was really cool, and I loved how her and Captain Carter were like working together to take down Strange Supreme in the finale. But finale,
I loved.
Finale, I thought, like you mentioned, that the fight in the finale was better than the first season. Wholeheartedly agree.
And I could have gone. I would have accepted even more of seeing all of the things that Doctor Strange had caught.
Right.
Like, give me more of those random fights going on, because when we get like the, what was it, Rocket and like a big Hulkbuster looking suit.
I know, that was so cool.
Like, you got God Hulk or whatever he was.
Yeah.
Like, those guys are fighting. Like, give me more, please.
Yeah.
Like, don't hold that cup away from me. Like, I need more of that.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, and I did love Infinity Killmonger in season 1. Like, I thought he was great.
He was a good villain. Yeah.
I mean, it was cool to see him again, the Infinity Armor rehash is really what I was like, we didn't need.
Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, go put that on.
Yeah, right. Just like, okay.
Right.
But like, yeah, I totally agree with that. Like, it would have been if they added 10 minutes and just showed us fights of like multiverse like creatures fighting each other. Like, I'd be totally down. That would be awesome.
What's your most underrated episode? That like, not your favorite, not the worst, but episode like you actually liked, but you're surprised that you liked.
That's a.
I'll give you mine while you think.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Nebula joining the Nova Corps, which is episode 1 of what if season 2. When that one started and when I read it, I was like, I'm not a big Nebula. Like, I don't know who's a big Nebula person. I think everyone just Nebula's there and she's fine. It's whatever. So I was like, I don't really need this. But to do like the whole like cyberpunk type of world, get the story with Ronan defeating Thanos, to deep dive into like the Nova Corp and how like that world was working. I actually surprisingly enjoyed that. It's not my favorite. It's not the worst. It's somewhere in the middle. But I actually enjoy that. And she puts on the whistle mohawk thing.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was cool. And then you got the Guardians of the Galaxy in there as well. So like
the team that she assembles in that one is awesome.
Yeah.
That was so much fun. It was like Korg and Groot and Howard the Duck. It was just like, oh, this is cool.
This is the team.
This is the team. That was really fun. I think underrated for me, honestly, is the Iron Man Grandmaster one, which I don't know if you can even call that one underrated, because I feel like so many people love Iron Man these days that they're just like 100% in on anything Iron Man and Tony Stark. But like that one, and not just because of Jeff Goldblum, who was amazing in that episode, but the premise of that one is really cool. And this is what I want more of in What If, like just a substitute of a character. Like Hulk is the one that goes to, what is the planet name again? I forget, but he goes to that planet.
Yeah.
And they just substituted Iron Man, and just the way that it played out with the differences of him being there instead of Hulk was just like, oh, this is cool. Now we got this like
Sakaar.
Yeah. So he's like, obviously Tony Stark has got the Iron Man armor. He's like this tech based hero. Yeah. So instead of like, being in a arena and like killing dudes like the Hulk, they do a race and he turns his Iron Man armor into a car. I just thought that was like a really cool concept. Yeah, it is wild. I'll give you that. It's like bonkers, but I was like, man, this is a really cool. This is what I want more of What If stuff. Just like swapping these crazy like ideas and premises. So that was cool. And the intro in that one is exactly how I want them all to start. Is instead of making it through the portal at the end of Avengers, he doesn't make it through the portal. Right. Just like a slight change alters the whole like universe. Like I just thought that was really cool how that all started. So that one I think is my underrated one. Like, yeah, it's not my favorite episode, but like it's just got some really cool concepts.
Sure. I'll continue to love the Watcher as a character.
So great.
That is like 100% aware of everything going on, but then also like completely dumbfounded by things. It's like it's such an interesting blend. Like he knows everything, but at the same time, whenever like what he knows is shaken off, he's just like he becomes just the biggest dum dum.
Okay, one of my favorite Watcher moments is in the I Am Groot series, which I'm sure you've watched because you have kids. But there's this episode where he is following Groot around and like he's basically narrating what Groot is doing, and Groot just does this dumb stuff and he's like, what is he doing? He's just like so surprised at what Groot is doing the whole time, and it's just so funny. It's like there's this guy who's obviously he's watching, so he doesn't know everything, but like he pretends like he knows everything. And Groot is just doing this dumb stuff. Like at one point you see him go off screen and you hear him urinate on like this like fancy mural, and he's like, is he peeing on that? It's just like, oh my gosh,
the Watcher as a character in the entire MCU is so much fun.
It's so good. Like this was the perfect series for that character to get introduced. It'd be fun to see him in live action.
I just had an idea. I had an idea to fix our Kang problem.
Oh, okay.
We just start. They should advertise the next movie that's supposed to be with Kang. Advertise it like you normally would, and then just like don't show show what you can, like maybe show like Kang in the distance, like blasting something or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you go to the movie theater, you should just the Watcher shows up, and he just gives this whole explanation about like how the multiverse works and how like certain things happen that we can't always control, and they cause things to shift out of place. Mm-hmm. And then he just says like, Kang is no longer in this world after making a poor decision or something. And then he just
explains it away.
He brings in a completely different movie, you know?
Like just totally blows everybody.
You're going to what is the Kang Dynasty? You think you're going to Kang Dynasty, and it turns out to be like Marvel versus the X-Men or something like that, like
Doom Dynasty or like some totally different villain.
Yeah, just they just completely turn it on their head.
That would be wild.
I would love that.
People that haven't watched What If would be like, "What is
this
right
guy?
Now? What in the world?"
He would do his whole
on?
like, "I am the Watcher."
Right.
Yeah. And you just have him like exposition for like 5 minutes at the beginning of a movie about why all these changes happened, and then you just move on.
That would be fantastic.
And then they should also get rid of all this Young Avengers stuff they're doing. Because I'm not here. They just whatever isn't working.
I'm fine with that, but like
working, the MCU should just go, Watcher, before the movie.
Fix it.
We're putting you out there. You're gonna fix it, and everyone's gonna be fine with it.
Or just have Lewis do it. Like, I mean, like if we just have Lewis do a recap of all of the events leading up to that point from Ant-Man, that'd be just as good.
Why don't they just do it together? Maybe
he could be the live action Watcher. Maybe he's been the Watcher the whole time.
Live action Watcher is Jeffrey Wright, man.
Yeah, I mean
Jeffrey Wright's incredible.
You would have to because his voice is fantastic.
And I want the Watcher from What If. I want that Watcher, that animation.
You want the animated Watcher to show up. I want the
animated Watcher to tell us what's going on. I don't want.
Okay.
I feel like if you make it a live action Watcher, it won't work.
It would
because then you're running into the stupid big face guy from the Ant-Man 3. MODOK.
Oh,
and that was hey, the big head thing failed experiment.
But we have seen Watchers in the MCU already in a post-credit scene with Stan Lee.
That's true, but they weren't like talking and like having emotion. They were just
they were just standing there,
right?
But hey,
so give me Jeffrey Wright as the Watcher explaining why Kang is no longer part of the MCU.
All right, I'm in. I'm all in.
Like that's easiest fix in the world.
Yeah. That'd be great. So there you go. And you said you gave what rating did you give season 2?
5.5.
5.5, and I give it a 5 out of 6. So we'll stand by to see what the rest of the Infinity Bros think of this. But solid, really fun. Honestly, if you're just in for a good time, the What If is a great series to and it's so easy to watch. Like 25, 30-minute episodes.
Yeah, 20-minute episodes with 17 minutes of rolling credits at the end. Like, they're great.
That's such a crock with Disney Plus shows, man. It's just
I don't know why they do it. I don't understand. Why are they doing this to us?
It's lame. I don't like it.
And then they make their like the next show's coming on in 15 seconds. Why is it 15 seconds?
Yeah,
make
Disney
it 3
Plus
seconds.
is excessively long, right? I don't know why it is that long either. For some reason,
I'm trying to bust through as many Bluey episodes as possible.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. I was like, these Bluey episodes are 7 minutes long, and then you got to wait 20 seconds to get to the next one. It's like that's like I don't know, that's like 2 or 3% of the whole episode.
Exactly. Like don't do that to me and my kid. My kid's waiting for the next Bluey episode, and I don't want to have to click the remote. Like, just let's make it faster, or give me an option to make it faster. Like
Solvi is that one. She's like, I want it now. And I'm like,
I agree with Solvi.
There's 18 seconds left, okay? Like,
I know, and it's like, but chill. It's the slowest 20 seconds in the world.
It is for some reason.
I am 100% team Solvi on that. Fix it, Disney Plus. At the end of season 2 of What If, was that Loki's tree?
Yes, it totally was. Oh my gosh,
that was Loki's tree, right?
Like, that's totally Loki's tree. Oh my gosh, that was a fantastic. it would be interesting to go back into the production of that and see when the production of What If, like season 2 started versus when Loki, that whole production was going on. But like, it looks the exact same and it's green. And sure, you can probably make the case that like, it's, what is it? The Nordish tree of life or whatever. Jurgistan or something like that. I mean, like, it looks similar to that. So you could make that comparison of like, hey, this could be just the generic, like, tree of life thing, but like it totally looks the same and it played in the same part.
It's gotta not be. That has to be Loki's tree. Because he's connecting everything. He's part of it. He's part of What If. Gosh. That Loki is in What If.
That's amazing.
Yeah. That's...
Oh, another part of that though, we should have talked about the finale more. The finale when they're all dropping down and Hela throws her hat and like the 10 rings like go and she's got like all those things,
right?
And Kahori's got like all of the stuff lifted up and the Mjolnir's right next to her. I was like, oh my gosh, like,
incredible.
This
is the most
really
powerful MCU hero ever, right? Like, she has to be at that point.
And then Strange Supreme turns into a Balrog,
which is and then unturns into a Balrog, and then turns back into a Balrog.
And then Captain Carter screams, "You shall not pass," and defeats him.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, pretty much how it goes. That's how I remember it.
That's season 2. Yeah. What If season 2? Follow
there you go.
Tips.
That was a pretty great finale, honestly. The fight in season 1 was good too, but I don't know. I feel like last season, the way they just like the first 4 or 5 episodes, you had no clue that they were gonna wrap it together.
Right.
In the last 2 episodes. And then that's why I think it felt kind of like disjointed a little bit. And they kind of did the same thing in this season, but it wasn't quite as pronounced. So I don't know. Maybe I just was used to it from the previous season.
Right. And they tied it all together with Peggy. So like it still worked. It wasn't quite the same, but
Right. She was the running thread that was in a lot of the episodes. Well, next up we have to look forward to in the MCU is Echo, which I believe is dropping pretty soon here. I don't know exactly. I'm gonna look that up, but it's dropping in January. I know. But it's 5 episodes, all dropping at the same time.
Is it dropping at the same time?
All dropping at the same time. Which is interesting. That's not their typical formula. And it's 5 episodes. The show is interesting, but
they have taken a weird approach with Echo from the start.
They have, yep.
And it seems like they kind of just want to put it out and then move on.
They really do, because it's technically under the Marvel Spotlight series banner now, which is basically Marvel's way of saying like, hey, don't think too hard about how this fits into the MCU. This show is its own thing, type of thing. But
Daredevil's in it.
Daredevil's in it. Kingpin is in it. Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yeah.
So we do have some recurring characters, but I think it's probably Marvel's way of saying like Echo's not going to play a big part in the future of the MCU.
Sure.
Like, don't expect her to keep popping up in different, properties and stuff. That's like that. Shame. But the trailer looks sweet, and there has been I guess it's not a leak because it got released in the UK, but apparently there's like a fight between Daredevil and Echo that lasts like 6 minutes. Ooh. And like 2 minutes of it was broadcasted on UK TV. I don't know why.
What?
No clue.
Okay.
No clue why. But yeah, there was some like people that had their phones and recorded it on the TV that was like going around online, which I did not watch because I was like, screw this is stupid. But yeah, okay. January 9th is when it drops. So January 9th.
5 days.
5 days. 5 episodes of Echo will be dropping on Disney Plus. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah, there it is.
I think that's it, Robbie. Do we have anything else to talk about?
No, I don't think so.
Do you have anything else to talk about?
There's probably plenty of things that we've missed.
Yeah, there always is.
There always is. We went to Trolls the other day.
Oh.
The new Trolls.
How is that? Because my kids finally have gotten into Trolls in the past like month. Never watched any Trolls anything until this month. And then all of a sudden they're like, Trolls is the best.
Trolls has some weird, very adult themes and like psychedelic stuff going on in it.
Interesting.
This newest Trolls.
Like the newest one or just in general?
The first 2. In general.
Okay.
But this newest one had less of that. It did have a few moments. I really enjoyed it. NSYNC is in it.
Yes.
So
No.
but
NSYNC is in it, and doesn't Justin Timberlake? Oh no, I'm thinking of the first one.
well, Justin
Timberlake
Timberlake's in all three of them.
sings. Well, yeah, he sings a Backstreet Boys song in the first one.
Yeah, but
That just made me
NSYNC has an
giggle.
actual song in
Yeah,
this
they actually
one,
get
yeah.
together and do it. That's
Yeah,
pretty wild.
so this is probably I like this better than 2. I like it better than 1. Yeah, this is my favorite Trolls movie.
How do you rank the Trolls
I don't
movies?
3, 1, 2.
Okay,
I guess.
there you have it.
If I have to rank them.
Hit us up on social media to disagree with Robbie's Trolls ranking.
The whole episode is going to be troll review.
Troll. That's what I'm going to label this.
This is it.
Trolls review.
Yeah.
Thank you, Robbie, for joining me on this episode of the Infinity Bros podcast.
I'm glad I was able to join you.
I'm glad you were too.
I can't wait for the next 6 months to fly by, and I'll be on another one.
You're going to be like, even on the podcast less than Zane pretty soon here.
I know.
I was thinking about
Jared
this.
Keep
like
playing a podcast tag with the magic stuff. Like
I was thinking about this. I'm gonna have to one night shift that I'm really bored for some reason. Go back and count all of the appearances of all of the Infinity Bros and see who actually has been on the least. That would be interesting.
I bet me and Zane are pretty low.
Zane definitely is bottom 2
he
for
has
sure,
to be.
because he is like before this year. Honestly, this year he's been on a ton because we did
Yeah.
Last of Us and Ahsoka, me and him, like all together.
Yeah.
But before that, it was very sporadic that he was.
Like Max
that
is
he
number
was
1,
on.
you're number 2. There's no way we're on that.
Yeah.
Mark is probably number 3 because he's done all those
He's done, yeah.
episodes with Max about just
Yep.
like one episodes. And then I am Matt. I hope I'm 4th. That's what I'll say.
I think you would be. Yeah, I think you
I'm
would be. I
4th.
think honestly, Jarrett is probably competing with Zane for bottom. I feel like
Jarrett has, but Jarrett wants to. He just has the worst setup because he lives in the middle of nowhere.
also he has the worst luck of almost anybody that I know.
Any
Like,
human being.
Just the craziest junk happens
Just, yeah,
to Jarrett and his
all the
family,
time.
like all the time.
Yeah, and it's just-
every
this is
week
like,
he tells us
hey,
of a new
guys,
life thing that is going on, and we're just like, dang, Jarrett, like what the heck, bro?
a meteor crashed into my vacuum. I haven't been able to vacuum for a month. Like, jeez, Jarrett.
Yeah.
There's a hole in my roof, but I'm not worried about that.
But we love him, and he is still a very serviceable.
He's a
Infinity bro.
top 6 bro.
Yeah, definitely top 6.
Yeah. This has been
But-
we've been rambling a lot for the last 5 minutes.
That's fine. Trolls rambling is fine.
Hey, I gave a ranking on Trolls.
There you go.
I don't know what I would rank those as out of 6.
That you'd have to put a lot more thought in it that you probably want to.
Yeah, no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, no, not gonna do that.
None of them are 6s, I'll give you that much.
Listeners, if you're looking for more Infinity Bros, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, sometimes on Twitch, not very much anymore.
Threads is a thing.
Threads is a thing.
I've
Sometimes.
used it.
But yeah, you can also check out theinfinitybros.com. All your links will be right there for your convenience.
Or also on Moxfield for the magic people.
Oh, yeah. There you go. There's our magic plug.
Look at my terrible magic decks and make fun of me.
Hey, I mean, if I even attempted to make a deck at this point, it would be laughable. I have a few on Arena, and I'm just like, this has got to be the worst deck of all time. And I still play with it. It's still fun. And I get a dub every once in a while.
Sure.
But it's probably just complete garbage. I just threw a bunch of junk into a deck that was,
just find a bunch of
same
things
color.
that say the same thing and throw them into a pile. That'll work.
There you go.
Yep.
But yeah, if you want to
magic.
connect with Jarrett or Robbie on Magic stuff, we'll hopefully having a new Magic Monthly coming up soon with Year in Review.
That's here. I don't make New Year's resolutions, but that's my Infinity Bros resolution is that we have a Magic Monthly podcast. So that would be 12 episodes is all I'm asking for.
You know what, Robbie? That's my New Year's resolution too, is that you guys have a Magic Monthly come out very soon.
Okay.
So there you go.
Before February is what Isaac would like.
That would be preferable. But anyways, pay attention to social media because we are going to be doing our 2023 Stanley's Awards soon.
Sometime in 2024.
Sometime in 2024.
Before 2025.
I sure hope so. I hope we get to it before then. And this is episode 188 of the Infinity Bros podcast. Maybe we'll just save it for episode 200.
Wow.
Maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see
what happens.
Like June.
I hope not, but it's possible. But wherever you're listening, however you're listening, thank you so much for making us a part of your podcast experience. We love you 3000. Have an amazing night, day, weekend, whatever it is for you. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to the Infinity Bros podcast. You can find the Infinity Bros on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Twitch, and YouTube at the Infinity Bros. You can also check out our website at theinfinitybros.com for links, reviews, and sweet merch. Feel free to send listener feedback via social media or email at infinitybrospodcast@gmail.com.